I wrote this a year and a half ago, and Melody edited it. Dr. D'Amato edited it. So we're looking at the front page of this 2-page. Did everybody get one? Bill, could you grab some to bring up?
Sure.
Thank you. So the impetus for this was Dr. D'Amato mentioned to me at one of my appointments, you need a Bill of Rights, a patient's Bill of Rights. And I said, what's that? And he said, you'll figure it out. But he wanted the patients to take an initiative. So you're going to follow along with me, and let me get past the first couple sentences because I know it's not what you're going to think when you're reading it. And then pop your hands up as you go along, as I go along if you have questions. So it's going to be interactive. We patients diagnosed with ocular melanoma, conjunctival or uveal melanoma, claim we have the right to the following. We are our own advocates. Everybody on the right page? Oh.
It's on the other side.
No. Go on the very bottom of the second page.
Okay.
The Ocular Melanoma Patient's Bill of Rights.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Let's run it from the top back there. We patients diagnosed with ocular melanoma, conjunctival or uveal melanoma, claim we have the right to the following. Article 1, choice of treatment. The type of primary treatment for ocular melanoma should be chosen by the patient, not by the eye specialist. Sound kind of strange? We are in a glut. In the United States, we've got superior treatment centers. Then we've got this entire United States that has small clinics, associations of 4 or 5 doctors that haven't changed their methods in 20 years. And they do plaque. Your doctor should explain the type of tumor you have and the options for your tumor based on size and location in your eye. They shouldn't say, well, I can schedule you for plaque in 2 days. That's our right, because depending on where your tumor is located, there could be a better treatment for you. So this sounds strange. How can you make the decision? Well, you have to be your own advocate. And we're preparing tools for you to carry on that way. The ophthalmologist should be required to present an unbiased description of all viable treatment options to the patient for the patient to decide on their own treatment. So just what I said, they need to tell you what type of tumor you have and whether brachytherapy, proton beam, laser, ablation is best for you, even if it's not offered at their center. So what I tell people when I first meet them and they say, I'm uneasy with my doctor, he didn't tell me about a biopsy. I hear that all the time. Get a second opinion. I was scared to death to get a second opinion, and my second opinion got me Dr. Bertel D'Amato. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Any questions? The description should include all information that the patient needs to make a rational decision. Any treatment recommended should be based on what treatment the ophthalmologist offers. Should not be based on what the ophthalmologist offers or on the geographical location of the patient. So we have a lot of proton beam centers being built and a lot more opening. And Aura, you heard this morning, is coming up with a liquid injection, light-activated, oxygen-activated tumor destructor. No hardware included. So no 4 rings being put in your eye for proton beam, no plaque. So things are changing really fast. Article 2, full disclosure on prognostic tumor biopsy. The ocular melanoma patient is entitled to be informed of all available techniques for biopsy and genetic tumor analysis. It is the patient who should decide whether or not to have prognostic tumor testing. after he has all the information to make the decision. If the ophthalmologist is unable to offer a biopsy procedure, the patient should be referred elsewhere for this service. We believe that this is necessary as cancer treatment is moving toward individualized, targeted therapy, and this cannot happen without genetic tumor analysis information. Does anybody have a question on that?
Well, it's not really a question as much as I think that the choice of treatment is terrific, but most of us don't have this information before we get diagnosed. At least in my situation, I went to get a diagnosis, I got a diagnosis, I was told a treatment, and I got a treatment. And then after I got the treatment, I started saying, well, there were other treatments. So it's kind of hard, to sort of exercise this Bill of Rights when you become aware of it.
Well, it's like aura this morning. None of us are going to qualify for aura because we've already been treated. So we're trying to change things for the future.
The thing about Aura was their second stage when I was diagnosed. And what I did was I went online to look at the different treatments available and where they were located. And Aura study, the second phase had just closed before my treatment. So it was like I didn't qualify for their study either.
Well, you also, what I learned this morning was that it has to be, so you have to be, as a patient, selected from one of their circle sites.
Right, and Dr. McCannell's my doctor, so.
Oh,
yeah.
excellent.
But it's almost like it is a patient's Bill of Rights, and that's a proper label, I think. But it's something that doctors need to be told.
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because, the general, most of us never heard of ocular melanoma until we ended up, getting diagnosed with it. And it wouldn't even have occurred to me that there are alternative treatments.
We weren't an advocate at that point, we were a victim.
Well,
And you didn't know what question to ask.
in other medical arenas that I'm involved in, so I know to ask certain questions, but because ocular melanoma, it is kind of unusual that there's several very different treatments. And so it's like the doctors have to be, given this information, so when they're meeting with us, they could say, well, here's options. I don't do them all.
Yeah.
But here's what's currently being done.
So, personal story, I traveled to UCSF regularly every 3 months after my proton beam and saw Dr. D'Amato and Dr. Afshar. And after a certain amount of time, Dr. D'Amato said, well, I can see you every 6 months, and you can see somebody in Seattle for every 3 months if there's a problem. So I went to the best recommended ophthalmology clinic, and they happened to have ocular melanoma Tuesday. And John and I went in, and I had my eyes dilated, and they did the eye chart, and they said, go to the inner waiting room. And I went, and there were 13 or 14 people. And so I went in, and not being shy, I said, hi, everyone. Is everyone in here an ocular melanoma patient? And they all raised their hands. And I said, have you had genetic testing? What's that? And I said, did everyone have plaque? Yes, did you? And I said, no, I had proton beam. And I just quit. There was no home run for me there. But I gave that doctor a handful of our Accurant Site brochures. And next time I went, he gave them back to me because his partners didn't want to put that out because they were getting close to retirement age and they didn't want to change their practice and they didn't want to lose patients. What's that tell you? So number 3, health maintenance post-primary treatment. All OM patients deserve minimum standards of care that must be achieved by their ophthalmologist, with such standards being approved by an organization such as the American Academy of Ophthalmology, AAO. We still don't have an established, agreed on scan schedule. I think we go pretty much by Dr. Sado's. It's pinned on Elizabeth's page. Does everybody know? Ocular/uveal melanoma support group on Facebook. Grab one of our brochures, and we have a list of support pages on Facebook. And they're patient only. It's great interchange. There's several that we list, not just Elizabeth's. But they're not open to caregivers and they're not open to doctors. and anything said on the pages can't leave the pages. And the last one, Article 4, increased medical breakdown for insurance approvals and invoicing. No ocular melanoma patient should be denied timely and essential care because of shortages in insurance coverage. Organizations such as the AAO should ensure that procedure codes keep up with the rapid diagnostic and therapeutic advances taking place in medicine. So those of you who were here yesterday heard me ask a question on the insurance forms and on the diagnosis forms the doctor fills out. There's no box for ocular melanoma or uveal melanoma. You have breast cancer, kidney cancer, prostate cancer. No box for eye cancer. So your first claim is probably going to be denied, and the fight is on. So it's how crafty your doctor is right now in writing up your reports and getting you the treatment that you need covered. So Karen Site is going to launch a project with ophthalmologist members to get the AAO to do a national push to insurance companies to add ocular melanoma to make things easy. So these are the 4 principles from my view as a patient. Melody's editing, and we send it to Dr. D'Amato. And so when I write Dr. D'Amato and I ask his opinion, I get like 6 pages. And it's all wonderful. So if you turn your page over, Dr. D'Amato was at UCSF, and he took R4, and after editing, he wrote UCSF Ocular Oncology Standards of Care. Now, this isn't what you think. This isn't patients' rights. This is his staff. This is the Bible that I want you to go by treating our patients. And that goes to Bill's question, getting this out to the doctors. And I need to switch. So you can ask yourself while I'm reading these, read along, is this what I'm experiencing? And if you're having doubts and you're thinking you might need a second opinion, this was written by one of our highest standard of excellence care centers, and there's 5 or 6 that maintain nationally their reputation. So we're starting at the top and working down and hoping that we can lead by example. As a patient at UCSF, you should expect to receive an adequate examination when being screened for eye disease. So they run all tests: photo, dilation, ultrasound. We probably all had most all of those. To be informed of any findings and their significance, such as differential diagnosis if any tumor is detected. So depending on where your tumor is, the size of your tumor, she may prescribe additional tests. And if you ever hear, well, we don't do that here, we'll get a referral. Number 3, to receive all tests that are necessary to establish a diagnosis with a reasonable degree of certainty, including tumor biopsy if appropriate. So here's a doctor fighting for biopsies, and he fought in UK and he fought in the EU, and UCSF, as you heard from Dr. Ashfar today, will do a post-radiation biopsy in a certain window depending on your tumor and your treatment. So Dr. D'Amato used to do 90 days. So if you were treated 90 days ago or less, you could see Dr. Ashfar now and have him give you a recommendation. Yes, I could do a biopsy if you want one. No one else really does that. When I had my biopsy for proton beam, we asked to have enough tissue sample taken so we could do the Castle test and a genetic test. And unfortunately, they didn't get enough tissue material. So we went home and we were disappointed, and Dr. D'Amato called me. He goes, it's the practice in the EU to do this test after radiation. So back on the plane, back to UCSF. And the second sample went to Foundation One Medicine. And that's where I learned I have got BAP1, I've got GNA 11 with a variant of unknown significance in the little drawer that's marked S326A. The GNA 11 and the GNA Q have no FDA-approved agent to target. That's what all the research is about, a good portion of the research. BAP1 has an agent that was approved for leukemia, but when I was put on Verinostat, which is an HDAC inhibitor, fighting BAP1, my insurance denied it. And it was the first denial we'd had. And they kept paying $9,075 every 3 weeks for my treatment. And Dr. Patel wrote a petition and expedited it, which we didn't know at the time meant that you lose one of your appeals. So we had one more appeal, which I wrote with Hartmut Stecker, saying, basically, it's a math formula. If this drug is approved for BAP1 for leukemia, and Jack has BAP1, then Jack should be approved for that drug for ocular melanoma. And we also called the State of Washington Director of Insurance, head of the insurance board, a woman, and we found out by mistake that one of the reviewers on my board for the insurance denial was a veterinarian. And so the head of the director of the insurance board was livid, and she got on Washington State Blue Cross. And when it was all settled, we won, and it's a standing case now for BAP1, and we got checked for $60-some thousand. That's how long we fought. Anybody else have a story or a comment or a question? Yikes. Number 4, to be informed of the risks and benefits of each diagnostic procedure or process, including long-term surveillance when treatment is delayed until tumor growth is observed. So hopefully we think and wish it's going to be a diminishing, that we're going to live longer and we're going to space out our scans. Number 5, to be given the opportunity to provide fully informed consent for treatment or non-treatment of an ocular tumor. So once again, we get the information, we need to decide if we want to be treated. And Dr. Afshar had some excellent examples this morning. To be given an adequate description of the eye and the tumor pathology so that you can understand the rationale of your treatment. So what happens at UCSF is they have psychologists, and many institutions have in-house psychologists, nurses, that when you get your diagnosis, they deliver the news, and they're there to help you and help you with a plan. Number 7, to be informed of all therapeutic options, including those not available at UCSF. So had they been plaque only, this says that they would tell you about proton beam if they didn't have proton beam. Number 8, to receive adequate assistance in selecting the optimal treatment, taking account of your particular condition, your needs, your fears, and your opportunities and constraints. So that's individualized service. To be informed of what to expect should you not have treatment. To be helped to remember what was said by means of writing and or audio information. So when you have an important meeting, and it's too late now because you can't take a friend to your optical eyeglass shop thinking you might have ocular melanoma. You're going to go and they're going to say, you have a problem and I think I want to refer you to a specialist. We should have known to take a friend with us, to take notes because our mind is going to go blank. Or ask them before you go to your meeting, may I bring a recorder or may I record this session? And some of the larger institutes actually will provide you with a recording if you ask. So these are basic concepts that I wrote with Melody, and this is a pretty great turnaround program being put in place.
Amazing.
But this is just one institute. And Sapna Patel told me, she's tried this and she gets kickback. So the patients, we're going to need to help with this program at UCSF and show this is what needs to happen. We're the patients.
When I had the next generation testing with Dr. Afshar and Dr. D'Amato, they gave me a recording of the entire consult, which was really amazing.
We made our own, and then shortly after, he wrote this. Number 10, to be helped to remember what was said, blah, 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 we just did that one. Number 11, to be given significant time to decide what to do. You've gone your whole life up to that point not knowing you have ocular melanoma. Another day.
But that's not what it feels like.
I know.
That's for
I
sure.
know.
That's not what it feels like.
Your head is on the chopping block, right?
That's right. Get this out.
Now,
Well, and then, I said I went online, and, because I've had statistics, I've had to look through those statistical reports that they have online, and I had to see, okay, who was doing the study? Because whoever is doing the study is going to reveal what the best outcome was for their study.
Yeah.
They're going to do whatever they need to do to make their thesis come into play. So a lot of the things that I was reading through, I was like, oh no, discard. But it's like, it's like information overload. But when I went to Dr. McCannell, I was able to say, okay, so I've read about this, and then she said, okay, well, this will happen, but I had to be informed in order to do that, and basically that's what you did. You researched for a second opinion, so.
My caregiver did.
Yeah.
I was in a state of shock.
Yeah. Said I have to do it all.
Good on you.
So, but I'm the same way, it's like, oh my God, and then my stepson worked for a pharmaceutical company, so he said, okay, make sure you look for clinical trials too when you're looking for research that's being done. And that's what brought me, and he's the one that sent me the information about AU 011,
Yes.
and then found out it was closed already, so.
Hopefully it'll be open soon for everyone,
Yeah.
next year or two.
And yeah, it was a shock to me, but I know 2 other people who have nevuses on their eye, and one of the ladies says, well, if I get cancer, I get cancer. And the minute I got my diagnosis, I went over and I told her, I don't want to hear the minute you got it, because my optometrist, she did a scan of my eye, and the tumor was right there. You could see it. It wasn't, a fancy scan, but you could see the tumor. And she, right away, I said, can you email that to the ophthalmologist that I'm seeing tomorrow? They emailed it for me. That scan is all the way to UCLA. They just all coordinated it for me.
Get it all set up first day.
Yep.
Well, I have a similar story because I have ciliary body involvement, and my tumor is growing from the front into the eye, and with their standard dilation, the doctor's looking in, and the tumor's right next to him looking in, and they never saw each other. So he left the exam room, said, see you in 2 years. Had his hand on the jamb on the door, and he went around the corner, and his hand was still there, and I thought, this is really Hitchcockian. What's going on? Maybe he's just looking at my chart. And he came back, looked around the corner, and he goes, I'm sorry, everything's not right. I see a shadow in your eye. Can I overdilate your eye? And I said, sure. Overdilated it, took a photo, and showed me right there. Here was this tumor, 8 point something. Shocking. So even with a dilated eye exam, I could have been missed. How much time do you need, Mel?
About 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
What time is it?
Well, I got this started. It is 2:30. I'm just reading now. I can highlight the ones I want to speak on.
Because I'm going to need 20 minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to go down to number 14. To be informed of prognostic biopsy and genetic tumor typing, should you have a uveal melanoma, with an adequate explanation of the risks and benefits of this procedure. Did anybody have that?
I did, but I don't have the results yet.
Oh, good luck. 19, to be informed of any patient advocacy groups. If you don't know the patient advocacy groups I think I already mentioned, pick up one of our new brochures. Facebook has several groups. They're closed to the public, closed to caregivers. No doctors are allowed. There's a free and open dialogue between patients. Number 20, be given the opportunity of speaking to a patient who has previously gone through a similar experience. Thursday and Friday were an eye-opener to me because after 5 years, I never saw so much emotion. And we had a lot of first and second year people here who had no one to share with. And they opened up. And it was great. And a Cure site has a program called Care Companions. And if you don't have anyone to connect with, or you don't connect with somebody over this course of this conference, check out the brochure again, Care Companions. You can contact their website or get to Melody or myself, and we can provide you with somebody that had the same treatment you did, maybe in the same place, same region, that can give you resources and be there to talk to. That's how I met Ann, because Dr. D'Amato called me and said, I have a woman who'd like to talk to somebody. So Ann Osborne, when she said Jack, that was our connection. I became her care companion. What number am I on? 20? To be given the opportunity of speaking with the patient. Okay, 21, to receive any necessary psychological support and to be offered the opportunity of professional psychological support, whether or not this seems necessary at the time. I already mentioned psychologists on board in many treatment centers, hospitals. So I'm going to leave you to read the rest on your own. If you would circle 20, 21, 24, 27, and 29. Those are my hot buttons. And remember, you're your own advocate, and if you ever need help or support, please contact us. On a final note, I'm hoping to wrap up a book. And I've been working on it for 2 years. Melody's encouraging me. I had a stall because I had two major hemorrhages and I had 4 whiteouts in my eye and lost my sight. So I've had 2 vitrectomies, compound vitrectomies, and I'm just getting my sight back. But it's and I hate to say it's too late for us all, it's a navigational roadmap, a guide that takes you on a park ride down this course. I have no symptoms. I had symptoms. They both got diagnosed with ocular melanoma. This is what ocular melanoma is. There are 4 types or 5 types of tumors. These are the treatments, and there's arrows from different directions going to the different tumors and treatments. And it's a guide. Running right through this dialogue is psychological help and techniques for coping with trauma, written by Ann. Right next to that, running in each chapter, are questions and comments, tips from other patients. And I put questions out to the organizations on Facebook, and I'd say, at this period of time in your treatment, what were you thinking? What did you know? What do you remember? What would you tell someone else at this time in their treatment? So it's patient to patient. And this all runs sequentially through the stages of being diagnosed and treatment. And thank you to Bill for early involvement and his input. He was on the committee. But I'm hoping to finish it June, July.
Sounds like a great book. It sounds like it's very easy to read, simple, but it's not simple, but easy to follow.
It's going to be very simple to follow, and it's going to be written in a very easy language.
I might even understand it.
Yes. And we revealed it 2 years ago at the swing, and it printed out 2 feet by 6'6" Excel spreadsheet, roadmap. Rolled it out, and there was just Melody and myself and the doctors from the swing gala the night before. And they looked at it, and I explained just, you start at the top and follow this through, and there's disease, psychological and tips. And Sapna Patel, Dr. Patel said, "We need this tomorrow." And Dr. D'Amato said, "We need it today." So that was really encouraging. So thank you all. If you have any questions afterwards, please just grab me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got an email about a convention through ASCO about survivorship. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly what we need. Because so many of us dwell on the negative of ocular melanoma instead of the positive. We are all survivors and we need to embrace our survivorship. So in this conference, they were really talking about some really great things. And I noticed there was a great big disconnect in other cancers and ocular melanoma. Most other cancers have a cancer center for their cancer. If you go into a cancer center, you're going to have a breast cancer area. You're going to have a lung cancer area. When you go into a cancer center, there is not an ocular melanoma area. There is a melanoma area, but they have no idea most of the time what they're doing with us. So there is no survivorship plan. You go to your eye doctor, and he says, well, you've been treated, you're fine. Right? Well, we're not fine, and we know we're not fine, and we know we've got some work to do. So I took ASCO's plan, which is the green books you all have, and that's something that you can take home and read. But we need to know, why do we need a survivorship plan? A survivorship plan is something that you can fill out and you can take to your doctor. Now, you should all be keeping your information in a notebook. And in this notebook, you want to have your summaries of your visits, your summaries of any scanning that you have done, and you just keep it all in a notebook. And as you progress, your notebooks are going to grow, and you'll have 3 or 4 as you go on in life, and up to many. And you might chuck the old ones and replace it with new stuff, but this is the original stuff. No. And so you hold on to this notebook, because everywhere you go, doctors are going to look at you and say, "You have what?" So you have ocular melanoma, and you can say to a doctor, "I had a scan, here's my scan report." Okay? Second opinions are huge. You have the right to a second opinion. Going back to the Patient Bill of Rights, you have rights. So many of us go to the doctor and we just follow whatever they say. And we need to be our own advocates. And we really do need to stand up and say, no, this is what I want, and this is why I want it. And then challenge your doctors. And it's okay to challenge them. A lot of doctors just get a little bit complacent, and they just do what they do. And so they're seeing so many patients that they don't necessarily think, what does this individual patient need? So what you're going to do is, with this survivorship plan, is you're going to keep track of what you want. Everybody wants something different. Somebody might want to try everything they can if they have meds, and somebody might want to do nothing and just let it take its course. This gives you a way to track it. It starts opening your mind to conversations to have with your doctor. You look at the first item is your background information. You might not even think, what do my parents have? What do my sisters have? Brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles? This gives you some information to start talking about it. Has anybody had genetic counseling? Maybe your mothers have had breast cancer. Your fathers have had prostate cancer. You need to note that, and so make sure that your doctors are aware of that. And then see if there is a genetic test that is applicable to your health summary. You want to make sure that you know your diagnosis date. You want to know what your stage is. This stage means stage 1, stage 4. Unfortunately, ocular melanoma is a cancer. You're either stage 1 and fine, or you're stage 4 and you have mets. There's no in between. So this could be not applicable to a lot of people. Your eye has been treated and you're fine, so you're really not applicable. But if you have mets, you're stage 4. Okay?
But can I have your liver treated and you can return to MED?
Yes, you can. But that's so now that, what Jack just said, is the reason for having this, is you're going to be, okay, what's my next steps? So you're going to put down on here your treatment that you've had, your radiation that you've had, and any side effects of radiation. There are a lot of radiation side effects that we have in our eye. We have radiation retinopathy. We get fluid, we get buildup, we get crazy blood vessels growing, and a lot of us have Avastin shots. So we get cataracts as side effects. If you were in a Dr. Afshar session, there's all kinds of things that the radiation causes. So even though some of these might not be something that you're experiencing, some of them are. Make sure you make notes as to any side effects that you do have. What you might not think is a big deal, your doctor might need to know about. If you have floaters and you think it's no big deal, you still need to let your doctor know because it could be a big deal. Any change in eyesight, you really should let your doctor know. Okay? So make sure that you keep a note of that. And if you are keeping this along with your notebook, this is a good companion to that. You can put the pieces together a lot easier. Okay, so now we are to follow-up care plan. This is what's hugely important, is you have a right to your own follow-up care plan. You have a right to ask your oncologist for scanning. You have a right to challenge your insurance company if they deny you. Those are your rights. And in your survivorship plan, you need to decide how important that is to you. You do not have to have them every 3-6 months if you do not want them. If you want them, you have a right to them. Okay? You must challenge and be your own best advocate. So the follow-up care plan is what do you see in your follow-up care? Do you want to have scanning every 3, 6, 9 months? Do you say, no, I just want to have it once a year, I'm okay with the outcome? Follow-up visits. You need to make sure that you have the proper follow-up visits that you feel comfortable with. If your doctor says to you, I don't need to see you for 6 months, but you don't feel comfortable with it, you tell your doctor, no, I want to see you in 2 months. I don't feel comfortable waiting 6 months to see you. And you have a right to ask for an appointment. If they say, I'm sorry, I'm booked, you just explain to them that you need an appointment sooner than 6 months. They do have sooner appointments. Follow-up visits are huge. You definitely need to make sure that you're keeping up with your follow-up visits, both oncology and ophthalmology. It's important also to share this document once you get it all completed, that you're going to share this document with your primary care physician, your ocular oncologist, and your medical oncologist. It's hugely important that everybody on your team is on the same page and they know exactly what you want. If you don't know what you want, then it's perfectly acceptable to ask your doctor to help you with a care plan. You just go in and you just say to your doctor, I want a care plan, I will feel more confident with the care plan, and I need you to help me make one. And it is okay to ask them for that. And most doctors understand this is the newest trend really in healthcare is to have a survivorship plan. A lot of insurance companies have case managers who will help you with care plans. This is something that is a working document. It's going to change depending on your scans. It's going to change depending on your feelings. But this is something that you need to make sure that you have so that when you get that phone call that says, oh, we found something on your scans, you know where to go. Well, this is what I need. Now, you can find something on your scans, could be absolutely nothing at all. But you're going to immediately have that, oh my God, freak out, this is not good, and then you're going to lose where you're at in your treatment plan. You're not going to remember what you wanted. You're not going to remember where you were. You're not going to remember what your last scan said. Sometimes people have had things show up on their scans that have been there for 2-3 years, but this is a new radiologist reading it, and they're just now alerting you for it. So you need to go back and look in your notebook and say, was that here 6 months ago? Oh, it was. The doctor just didn't tell me. This is a new radiologist reading it, and he's just noting it. It was really here. So this is why it's important to keep all your information together, make sure that you have a solid care plan to talk with your doctor about, and that you follow it and change it as necessary. Please don't take this document and leave it in a drawer and forget about it. It's a working document. When you go to your doctor, take this document with you. In those green folders is a whole workbook for you. You can go through the workbook and it will guide you on how to fill things out. It will give you some ideas. ASCO is an absolute great cancer research organization. That's where most of our doctors present once a year. And what they present at ASCO is the newest, the latest, the greatest. So for this to come out of ASCO is huge. So please take it, use it, and make sure that you know that you have these rights. These rights are huge. So many of us just get shuffled, and we don't want to be shuffled. We want to be heard, and we have a right to be heard, and we have a right to get the care that we want. Does anybody have any questions? No? Well, great. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. And if you need anything from me or you would like more of these just for worksheets, I'd be happy. Yes, ma'am.
On this sheet, it doesn't have a list for your medications.
You can, some people, I didn't print the list for medications. Most of us are not. But if you are, if you are metastatic.
Yeah. Well,
You would.
no, but any kind of medication.
Oh, any kind of medications. Yes, any kind of medications. It's good for you to know so your doctor knows.
Make sure if you're taking supplements, that those are listed with your medications.
That's a very good point. You should never take supplements without talking to your doctor first, and make sure that you note them so that everybody knows exactly what you're taking.
So some of the vitamins and stuff like that can thin your blood and everything else like that. So even in emergency procedures, that information sheet you have.
Yeah, definitely you should keep all of that and make sure that your doctors know at all times everything that you're taking. But that's part of your care plan. You need to make sure that you and your doctor are on the same page with anything. Don't ever take something that your doctor doesn't know about. It's hugely important to cancer patients because Dr. Patel told me that she has to tell her immunotherapy people not to take certain supplements because it will alter. They're trying to give you something to alter your immune system, and if you start taking certain supplements, it will counteract your immunotherapy. So you definitely have to make sure, because you could actually be doing more harm than good. Okay, any other questions? Yes, ma'am, sir. Yes, who? This? Yes, that goes with this, but this is just for your worksheet at home.
They didn't get distributed there.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, everybody has one. Yes, ma'am.
For uveal melanoma, that we go from stage 1 to stage 4, and that just simply means that if it's metastatic, that it has moved from the original site.
Correct.
Because usually when we hear stage 4, it's like, ah!
Right, well, I can explain that really fast if you guys are concerned about that. Breast cancer has many different stages. When it's confined to the breast and it's a lump, it's stage 1. When it goes to the lymph nodes, it's stage 2. Then it's stage 3 when it spreads beyond that, and then it's stage 4 when it's in multiple organs. Ocular melanoma doesn't work like that. Ocular melanoma goes through your blood and usually goes right to your liver, sometimes your lungs, but there is never a contained area, such as a lymph node, that they can say, okay, you're just stage 2, we can take out this lymph node and then you're fine. We don't have that with our cancer. So sometimes you will hear stages for ocular melanoma, meaning your eyeball, what's contained into your eye. They will stage you depending on the size of your tumor. That is a completely different stage. That's not what this is talking about. So if you hear the eye doctor stage, you say you have a stage 2 ocular melanoma tumor, that's just describing your ocular melanoma tumor. It has nothing to do with your metastatic body. Okay? Ocular melanoma only has 2 stages. Regular diagnosis, tumor in your eye, and your stage 4. As soon as it leaves your eye and you start having tumors pop up in lungs or liver, you're automatically considered stage 4. Okay? Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you so much. If you guys have any questions or anything, please let Jack or I know.